Well, here we are again for another episode of the Pursuit of Purpose. What are we doing live podcast? Thank you for joining us. My name's Rob, and Chuck will be here shortly. He's running a little bit behind. But as we get started, I want to let everybody out there know how grateful we are for every week when you guys join us. It means the world to us that you're with us, and we welcome you, your comments, your questions, your ideas. We always want to hear from you. But today, and we hope you guys will have a lot of input on this topic, because it has a lot to do with what's going on in America. It's what we talked about last week. It's a similar related topic, and we are talking about the IRS. And today we're going to relate that to how does that go with the fundamental foundation of what America was built on and built for. And I'm going to tender the suggestion that it's diametrically opposed to what America was built for. The purpose behind this great constitutional republic was freedom in every concept, freedom in every way. And what we've done is we have created a system where the government has been permitted to build a bureaucracy that feeds off of the people to increase itself. And it has done so with enormous amounts of fear, enormous amounts of intimidation, and unchecked amounts of fraud, corruption, and just bloat. And we're seeing that right now play out in Minnesota. We're about to see a bunch of it play out in California. And we've heard hints and echoes of this through time for the past, my goodness, well, close to 100 years now. And for the first century of our nation's existence, we didn't have any income tax. And I wonder how many of our audience knows that. If you're out there in the audience and you didn't know that, it's true. Up until the first 100 years of our existence as a constitutional republic, we had no income tax whatsoever. Our America operated without that at all, and our founding design was that we would build the greatest economy on the planet, and that we would charge other people to participate in it. And that's how we funded our progress for the first 100 years. And it worked well. I mean, it worked extraordinarily well. It's what started our military, built our military. It's what settled the West. It's what fought our first couple of wars. It's what began the Industrial Revolution. It's how things got done. And let's see, we got some. Jonathan, hey, good to see you. I think it was part of the Tea Party platform a few years ago. Well, and I think that's true. The problem we have is that this concept we talked about a while back. I think it was in 2008 when the big crash happened, the big housing crash and all that. I think it was 2008. There was this concept that was unleashed on the American public, and it was this phrase, and it became like a slogan for some companies, and it was said all over the news. It was disgusting. It made me sick even to hear it. And the concept was too big to fail. Mm-hmm. It got said over and over again. And let me see. Top Gun Maverick says plot twist, arm the IRS, right? Top Gun Maverick says, I think the IRS should have more discretion on enforcement. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but I tender that the Internal Revenue Service flies exactly 180 degrees against what our nation was founded for. And they propagandize fear, intimidation, and complete, unchecked, unaccountable corruption. It is the biggest organized crime syndicate in the history of the world. Currently employing 77,000 employees, current annual budget of 22.8 or $26.8 billion. Yep. Just the payroll budget was $6.1 billion. Like, what are we doing? So there's been a lot of back and forth about this. One of the ideas. So the question comes that if you're going to point out a problem, at least in my opinion, if you're going to point out a problem, then it's incumbent upon you to suggest a solution, a viable solution, not some harebrained cockamamie idea that can't be implemented and won't make sense for the rest of the world or for our nation. And that's one of the problems. I misspoke a little bit. I said the rest of the world. One of the problems is that our nation has been so focused on the prosperity of the world at the detriment of us. We have had leaders, elected officials that have lined their pockets by advantaging other parts of the world and disadvantaging our own people. I remember during Obama's presidency that we were minimally subsidizing our farmers not to grow rice,
right,
so that we could buy rice,
right,
from Asian countries. Now, help me understand that,
right?
And that's all. This all starts with the foundation of this enormous bureaucracy known as the Internal Revenue Service. All this money, and what got me so fired up about this recently was the fraud in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like all of this stuff's happening, and these Somalian people, and I got nothing against Somalians as a people. It just so happens that was the group that took advantage of an opportunity to leech off of the American public.
Right.
And it showed me something. It showed me that if $9 billion, potentially more, but at least $9 billion has gone missing over the past very short time span, $9 billion, if that could go missing without anybody noticing it until something, extreme happened.
Right.
Well, where did it all come from? You ever think about that? Where did the money come from? How did that happen? How come there's nobody looking at this money all the time?
Right.
How come there's no checks and balances on the actual money? And a question I've got is, and I agree. Top Gun Maverick says, what about the Pentagon losing $9 trillion? I agree. That is egregious. That is unconscionable.
Yes.
And that's the problem that we have. That money starts out typically from the Internal Revenue Service. That's how it's all started. That's how the funding happens. And then Top Gun Maverick says, where did that money go? That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know. They found some in a suitcase yesterday in an airport. I think it was $7 million or so, I don't know. It was some crazy, some enormous amount of money. And it was bound for Somalia. It was in a Minnesota airport. The guy whoever it was, had the gall to declare it.
Oh my word!
Because you legally have to declare more than $10,000 in cash.
Okay.
On
$7 million would count within that category.
It might have even been $700 million. I can't remember the exact amount. I need to look back at it. But the point is,
yes,
how can we as a people sit back and point fingers and blame and whatever when we permitted and created this mess?
So that right there, just those numbers alone imply that we have hundreds of billions, if not maybe trillions of dollars that have been excised, albeit we're going to stand on it illegally, definitely maybe immorally, from us as the producers to go to places that we have no idea, with no accountability. So why don't we start with a collecting source? And that's going to put those who are in the thieving and wasting business on notice. You're not going to even have any money to do those things with. That's a fact. If there's no money there, and if we want to go back to the Obama era and probably even before him, I don't know if a lot of folks on our listening audience know this, but we borrow a lot of money. Next thing you know, we're having a $2 trillion stimulus. Where do you think that money comes from? You cannot borrow money without collateral. You can't just borrow it on good looks. That's not how it works, because we have pretty mountains and pretty prairies. So what is the collateral? The collateral is natural resources, and the collateral is the working class. That's us. And so the natural resources might be the oils and minerals that are underneath our feet right at this moment. So they started pressing these administrations to say, why aren't you drilling here? Why aren't you drilling there? Well, the reason is that a lot of those places are on the collateral list. So quite possibly, this is just a suppose on my part, maybe the reason that we were paying farmers to not produce is because part of the repayment of the loans had to do with getting money, purchasing rice, if you will, and other products like that from other countries. I don't know if that's perfectly how it worked, but I pretty much know that those are the reasons that they suspended a lot of drilling and other activity on what would otherwise be government land where those grants could be issued. That's why we've had big booms in our country. It's been on private land, and the reason that is because in the hands of the people, things tend to go well.
So this is our founding principle. And I saw on there a question about who's operating our camera. It's actually done with an AI program, and sometimes it acts goofy. So my apologies for that. But
sometimes it likes Rob, sometimes it likes me. We don't judge.
But my proposal is that we go back to our founding system, the fundamental system that we used for America when at our inception. And the primary source of revenue, it was trade funded, and it was tariffs. And that's being proposed right now. There's some consideration to it, and I think it's a great idea. There were excise taxes and they were limited and controversial. Land sales, expansion, funding. That's a good way. And government funded itself externally, not internally. That to me would be some of the most prosperous ways for us to move forward as a nation. Right. But to think that we can continue down the path we're on is bizarre and untenable.
Right. So look around your community. People are going to buy, sell, and trade. They're going to do it. They're going to do it in part because they don't want to grow their own meals. In some situations, they don't want to cook it. They'd rather go to a restaurant. So it's going to happen. They're not going to make their own cars. They're going to pay other people to do it. So since we know that commerce is going to happen, and that's a fact, then why not put that not only at a local level, all the way to a national level, is to work off of the revenue of trade.
Right. So right now we are treated, I hate to use this reference, but we are treated just like batteries in the Matrix. Like, if you've all seen that movie, and we are fed the same kind of BS that the computer world was feeding us in that movie, The Matrix. Mm-hmm. We are told that, if you don't pay the IRS, they'll come get you. They'll come take your stuff. They'll put a lien on your stuff. And it's true, they will. Because we've let them. We have given them permission, and we have given them our goodwill.
Yes.
And they are taking advantage of it. And they're not going to stop unless we take it back. And like the consequences for this are beyond ridiculous. If you looked at it, and I was trying to do the math on this earlier, but it got so big, I lost my mind. And I think my parts of my brain oozed out on my desk over there. But if you look at it, we are taxed in so many different directions. You pay income tax, federal income tax. Mm-hmm. You pay capital gains tax if you're an investor. Mm-hmm. You pay tax on sales. Mm-hmm. Everything you buy has tax. You pay tax on fuel.
Yes.
You pay tax on your cell phone. Mm-hmm. You pay tax on everything. If you die,
energy as a whole.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything.
There's a death tax in this country. If when you die, yes, you or your family will be paying a tax on that. Good heavens.
So, by the way, a little sidebar. Jonathan, thank you for the tip on it. He said that he thinks that the microphone stand for my mic was interfering with the AI feature on the camera. So I moved it, and it did seem to get better.
Thank you.
So thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't know what your handle is. There's a bunch of eyes on there. Prayers for Iran. Yes, prayers for Iran. They are going through some serious stuff. But we've got to take care of our country. We've got to. And I think it's right for us to be the world peacekeepers. I think it's right for us to be the light to the world, to show the world how to operate with peace, freedom, and choice.
Yes.
But we're giving it up. If you were to go back 100 years ago, those people would never imagine the amount of taxes we're paying right now.
Right.
They would think that that's crazy.
Right.
And if you went back even 200 years ago, in our 50th year as a nation, because this is our 250th birthday, in our 50th year, this would be tyranny.
Yes.
Pure, plain, and simple. And I can't imagine anything better to do for America on her birthday than to give her the gift of the abolishment of the Internal Revenue Service.
Yes.
And free the people up to grow, free the people up to earn a profit, to create. And there was another argument that was made, and I'm going to bring this up. Well, what about the 70-something thousand employees? What about the 70-something thousand employees in the Internal Revenue Service? And I would say, congratulations. You've been given the biggest opportunity of your life to stop living off of a corrupt, broken system and become a creative contributor to the greatest society and culture on the planet that's ever existed.
Right. And every system that's been created, every one of them, including the IRS, and we even look at our own military. You know, we go through these ebbs and flows where they're closing down bases and moving things to other. Is that me moving?
Yeah, it's you. It's always you.
It's always me. And
wait a minute, he'll drop something on the floor and then he'll go for it.
Oh, I'll dive for it. I
will.
will deep dive at that end of the pool. So if you're going to work for a government entity, there's going to be pivots and adjustments. If you took that job thinking that it would always be there, you know, that's not even realistic, because those of us out here in the civilian world, we know better than that. And many of people, whether it's industry or education or
so
whatever,
I got to address some comments here, Joe.
Okay.
So we got some good ones. Bren says big government has lied to Americans for years. And that's true. But here's the thing, Bren, and thank you for your comment. So, yes, they've lied to us. But before they lied to us, we lied to ourselves and said we need government to protect us. We need government to do for us. We need government to provide for us. That was the first lie. The big government lying to us is actually a byproduct of us lying to ourselves. We created this mess. And I don't mean us that are walking around right now.
Right.
We are guilty of compliance.
Right.
But we, as in we, the people of the United States in previous generations, built this disease. And we, the people now of this generation, owe it to previous generations and then future generations to be the cure.
Absolutely.
Because America has hope. America has a future. Our constitutional republic is the most successful and most beautiful form of governance and society that's ever been thought up on planet Earth.
Right.
And it has a future as long as we preserve it, as long as we're willing to fight for it, as long as we're willing to take it back from this diseased, corrupt, bloated system that we've allowed to become our current reality. So
if there's an entity among us that is not promoting the best of our function as a philosophy, as a republic, well, then it is our job to confront it the best way we know how. And right now we're having conversation. Maybe there's other things that will be done later if these ideas and these passions get picked up and they turn into policy. And if policy eventually abolishes the IRS, and if there needs to be some modest level of tax collecting, whether that is in the marketplace for various reasons. Yes, we want a military. Yes, we want good highways and protection in our communities. Okay. And those of us in the citizenry are willing to pay for that. Unfortunately, though, when things get bloated and they get extorted, then we start paying for things that we have. First of all, we don't have any idea what it is. Like that person in the airport that I learned when I came in. Where'd she get that money from? Well, knowing where a lot of these things are being wasted, well, I can only presume that it's not from good places. And so first things first, let's start taking care of where the money is excised from the producers. That's us. That's you and me.
So Bill Smith 2850 says the real issue is the Federal Reserve. Until we control our own money and its printing, we are, and I'm going to guess he said screwed. Yes and no. The reason they're printing money is to compensate for the fraud and theft. The reality is that our labor is worth far more than what it's given credit for. The American system, our economy, our ability to produce, grow, thrive, and flourish is far more valuable than what we're currently being shown. Because we're saturating our value with bringing in global participants in our economy that are not paying their quote unquote fair share. And we're sacrificing our worth and giving up our values and giving up our ideals for what we were founded upon in the sacrifice to help other nations and to line the pockets of worthless politicians. And we're seeing it so much. It's so prevalent right now in the news. And this is the time to address this. Okay, so let me see. I got to find some of these comments. No one cares what you say, Bandit Healer. All right. Well, you don't have to listen. That's okay. We have no control over interest rates and inflationary spending. Well, that's just it. What are all those things tied to? Now, if you look at this system, and part of the Internal Revenue Service and their fear-based governance is we built a debt-based society because of the IRS, if you look at it. They taught us how to go into debt, how to borrow. We did that after our government. Before that, we didn't have a debt-based society. And that's one of the biggest detriments to our culture. It's one of the biggest, most harmful symptoms of this disease. And we have got to overcome the fear. We have got to overcome the concept of the choice to be comfortable versus choosing the discomfort of progress and the discomfort of growth and the discomfort of change. We deserve this change.
Yes.
We deserve to get rid of the Internal Revenue Service.
Right. And yes, you know, we have found ourselves in situations in the history of this country where we did have to borrow against its potential, and likely in most every situation when it was, we'll say, reasonable and legitimate, it's because we were a nation at threat. And when we were at threat, when we were threatened, then we had to respond to that, and we responded accordingly. The idea there being when the threat is done, then we basically were to pivot back to its original productive system. Unfortunately, we didn't do that. That's not what we did. We actually just, I don't want to say double down because it's many more multiple times than double. We just kept going down and down and down again until now we have created this bureaucratic monstrous entity that we all fear can never be reformed. And that's not true. Lots of things can be reformed. It just takes courage. And that's why we're having this conversation. Unless you're happy paying these heavy tax burdens multiplied times tens many times, I'm not. And maybe that you're part of our populace that actually doesn't pay taxes. You know, there's a big chunk of people that don't. And there's a smaller portion of people that pay their way. And our system, and I'm not going to complain about that largely, but I'm saying the result of which is because we have this bloated bureaucracy that we're addressing today.
So Daco said something interesting, and that's Daco, D-A-K-O. Thank you for participating with us. He says, he or she, I'm sorry, I can't see. So I wouldn't mind paying taxes if I could choose where my money gets spent. Well, imagine if you could just choose where your money got spent. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Imagine if it wasn't a matter of you were forced to pay taxes. And And now look, here's another one we've got here. Bram, Craig, I can't see it going fast. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Time for a revolution, USA is due. So I'm going to say this. I believe that we can have a revolution without it being a bloody one.
Absolutely.
I believe that we can actually revolt against this system, enact and cause effective, meaningful, positive change for growth without violence. I don't think violence is a requirement. So I want to be really sure to understand this. In our show, we are not promoting stupidity or violence from one human to another.
That's right.
Now, I'm going to ask a question. Has anyone out there, have you seen any true and real benefit from how big our government is? How many of you are benefiting from it? Because I'm not.
I'm not. Maybe you are.
And I don't see the comments blowing up. I don't see a bunch of hearts flying across the screen on that question.
That's right.
And then let's see. There they're going quick. I lost it.
Yeah.
Old Man Gold Hunter says, but I have. That's a good thing for doctor. I was going to be watching the review. Oh, wait, hold on. Rhonda Santis says, oh yeah, all those famous nonviolent revolutions across history. You know, what's funny about that is there have been quite a few. Mm-hmm. And they don't always come in the form of what we think of as a revolution. A lot of times there will be an imbalance that's corrected through bankruptcy, through financial turmoil, through all sorts of different things cause different forms of revolution.
Right.
I hope it's not. I hope it doesn't have to come to a violent.
Absolutely
end.
Not. Absolutely. Not.
It is not a requirement that it be violent.
No. This is a show. This is an informative show with some passion, because what we hope you do is you do the proactive things. You know, first you decide, you know, what's most valuable to you, and then you persuade. You know, we vote to elect people who vote for us. And if they're not voting for us, well, then they need to hear that. And they all have open communication channels, and exercise that. You know, that's your right as a citizenry. And we realize that everybody that's listening to us today has some presence of citizenry in this country. Well, you know, use what you've been gifted by the people who founded this country. And it has been incarnated and reincarnated in various ways. And so here we are on digital platforms. Well, that's a means of communication too. Talk to folks. Let them know where you stand on this, because I can't imagine that you're comfortable.
So we got a few things. Are you Russian by chance? Easy chair opinions. Actually, no, I don't have any Russian heritage. He's got some Viking heritage, and Russia was, that was a Viking civilization at one time.
They were trying.
So no, neither of us are Russian. Where are we based? We're in Southeast Texas, the greatest country in America. User 102849. These guys are definitely Israel first. No, we're America first.
Yes,
we are America first, above all else. And I'm for each and every one of you that are participating on this show. America first, baby. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm not going to repeat a comment we got on there from Dance. It's Texas is so, and it's not a great. It's kind of an insult. Let's see. This
you're welcome anyway.
Repeating revolution insanity. Y'all can't even handle the cold. Well, I go up to Chicago when I get a chance, and then we go. I do travel, and he's actually from Colorado. He goes to Colorado. He's been there. He goes there all the time.
Yes. So I've had some cold.
Yeah,
but I choose better than to live there.
Yeah. So, Old Man Gold Hunter, we're American first.
Yes.
And what the heck is The View doing on TV? That's a great question. I don't watch it. I make sure that nobody can think that I'm contributing to the viewership of that show.
No.
Texas is so big it'll shrink your brain. That's what Dan said.
But hey, about shows like The View, isn't that still a testament to this great country that even I don't agree with them, but
you can be four morons and have a TV show and make millions of
that's
dollars.
right. You can have a
Do what you gotta
platform.
do.
Yes, and so we're just exercising our opportunities here. Yay, America!
All right, so let's see. Clara Cosby says, I don't think the elderly people should pay taxes on their homes. Praise the Lord God first.
Mm.
I agree with you. I don't think they should pay taxes on their homes. And I think that's part of one of the problems dealing with our taxation without representation system that we currently have. As it seems, you don't ever really own any property in America. You're said to have owned it. You pay for it. You buy it from someone, or you pay someone else for the privilege of paying the taxes on it.
Right.
But if you don't pay your taxes on it, you lose it.
You lose it.
They'll come and take it from you. Then they'll auction it off, and somebody else will get it as a steal.
Yes.
But
So,
I agree with you that elderly people should not pay property taxes.
and I will say this on that note: part of my privilege is I do get to help take care of my 86-year-old mother, and she has reached the apex where she no longer has to write pay income tax or do a return. And that's quite a feat. So that's maybe my goal is to be at that place where she is one day. We'll see.
Brooklyn says name calling is not necessary. Who called your names, Brooklyn?
Uh-oh.
I don't see that one. But anyway, so imagine our taxes. Imagine our taxes paying for ICE agents to shoot our citizens in their car. So Devin has a particular opinion about things, and you're absolutely free to have your opinion and your voice. I don't want to get off into that because it's a no-win topic for the audience. I have my opinion, but it is what it is. It's an unfortunate event. I wish that none of that would have happened.
That's right.
Let's see. Rough Texan Cowboy says, I'm not worried about anything. I'm 100% tax-free. Well, congratulations. I don't know how you managed it. Where do you live if you're 100% tax-free? Right. Because if you're driving a vehicle that takes petroleum fuel, you're paying taxes. Yeah. If you are purchasing any goods from any retailer of any kind in the United States of America, you are paying taxes. Yes. If you do anything, I don't even know what you could do in existence in this nation without paying taxes.
Please share how you figured that out. Wow.
Doc and the American flag. Is that an opinion? Isn't it on video that happened? Oh, it absolutely happened. It didn't I don't agree that I don't have to agree with the view of how Devin saw that event take place. And I have watched that video from every angle that there is to see on it. And I didn't see what you saw, but we'll keep going. So do any of you want to come on the show and actually talk about, yeah, here's a good one. Okay. So Deco says, do you guys have the Somalian daycare fraud problem there in Texas? So I suspect that it's not necessarily Somalian, but I suspect that systemic fraud problem exists in every 50 states, in every one of the 50 states in America, because it's a systemic problem. It's not a location problem. Yes. And that's part of what woke me up to want to take the IRS off of the chessboard, because it's the foundation for where all these places get their funding. I mean, how else do you lose that quantity of money? Right. Somebody in the earlier comments, we were talking about the big bunch of cash that was found in a Minnesota airport yesterday. Somebody in the earlier comments said that $700 million would weigh like 15,000 pounds. Imagine what $9 billion would weigh. Wow. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Right. And we haven't even made it into California. We haven't even discovered what's going on over there and all the fraud that's taking place. And I mean, California historically has the biggest fraud of anywhere in the United States. Wow. And so we're still focused on Minnesota because it's the most, obvious at the moment. But golly, I can't even imagine. And I feel pretty certain in saying that those types of things go on all over the country. No state is exempt. It may be a little more prevalent than others, but no state is exempt. Because whenever there's a system, somebody's going to find a way to game it. And Brooklyn asked, did you ever properly research Trump not putting his hand on the Bible? Yeah, I did see that. And it's absolutely what I saw. He did not put his hand on the Bible when he was sworn in. I don't have an answer for it. I don't know why, but I did see it. The biggest fraud is billionaires not paying taxes. Well, I don't agree with that. I'm not a billionaire, but I think the biggest fraud is that income tax exists. That's honest truth. I really believe with all my heart that we should not penalize the people of our nation for growth.
Right.
We should not be taxing income at all. That is unconscionable. It's an abhorrent practice that only leads to fraud, deception, corruption, bloated government. That's how this all started. So I don't agree with you. User 1028499134. The biggest fraud is not billionaires. The biggest fraud is income tax in and of itself.
So whether you're a hundredaire, a thousandaire, a 100,000aire, all the way up, are you comfortable with those percentages of your revenue being taken from you? And because of the power that's been given to the IRS against your will, there's nothing you can do about it. And unless you try to do something about it, and then I regret to see what may happen next at the moment.
So let's see. Hold on. Brooklyn says without income tax, there would be no West Virginia or Alabama. Well, they have state income taxes, not federal. And I don't agree with that either. But I'd like to understand what you mean, Brooklyn, if you don't mind explaining a little bit. Daco says, unfortunately, rich people know how to find IRS loopholes. Well, no, actually, rich people know how to pay people to find IRS loopholes, and that's how it works. And that's part of the problem, is that it's a manipulatable system. It's wrong all the way across the board.
Right.
Let's see. Hold on. $24 billion worth of fraud in Cali with just the homeless projects building luxury apartments. That's from Smorgasbord. Thank you for that. What do you guys know about Basel III endgame? I don't know anything about that. Don't even know what it is.
While Rob's reading, I did hear something recently. I can't verify it, but I will work to verify it. That in one of our major cities in our country, there is a humongous drug abuse problem. It's been all over the internet, where they're on the streets and those sorts of things. Well, come to find out, that state gets nearly $1 million per citizen on the average that is that lives in those types of drug conditions. So that's over $900,000 per, and I guess they're running it by statistics. So when you hear things like that, it makes you question, is there actually incentive to really clean it up? Because that sure is a lot of revenue. And where does that revenue come from? Because I bet if they didn't have the revenue per person per problem, maybe different things would happen. Maybe more of those people could be saved. And those are just things, I suppose.
So if we could look at this in a way that could be productive, do any of you have an argument against moving to a tariff-based system? Is there anyone out there that thinks that would be a negative way to go? Doc says, let me join. Okay. Let me see here if I can remember how to do that. But anyway, while I'm working on bringing Doc in, does anyone have any way to say that they think that tariffs are a bad way to fund our federal government? Doc, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah, I think the audience can hear you. You guys chime in. Can y'all hear Doc?
Yeah.
Two things.
Okay.
Okay, everybody says they can hear you. Go ahead.
First, if you scroll up before I said, let me join last time, I copied and pasted his comment that he's an opinion. I read it, or I can read it. It says, imagine our taxes paying for ICE agents to pew pew our citizens in their car. Where's the opinion in that? I don't see an opinion in there. That's exactly what happened on the video. I think the opinion is whether or not it was justified, and that's not mentioned. So can you tell me if I'm reading that incorrectly, or I just don't see an opinion there.
Well, that's not what the ICE agent was paid to do, and it's the event that took place, but that's not what he was paid to do. He was paid to enforce immigrations and customs laws. He ended up in a bad situation.
Yeah, so why are they demanding an American citizen get out of their car? That's so weird.
I don't know what that's got to do with taxes or the Internal Revenue Service. And we can talk about that on a different show that's dedicated to that topic, but this one's going to be focused.
I heard you when you said, like, he has an opinion about that I don't necessarily share. I was wondering where the opinion was, because all he again stated was that
because that's not what the IRS, the ICE agent wasn't paid to do that to that person. The ICE agent was paid to enforce immigrations and customs law. And that's what he was doing. He wasn't paid to do that. He got put in a situation where he felt like that was his alternative. That was all he knew to do at the moment. And I don't want to get into that, but that's an opinion.
Yeah, that's not an opinion, because that is what he did when he was on the job.
Okay,
so to keep it close to topic, I can't.
Other thing I wanted to talk about, so we don't have to stay.
Okay, well, and I was going to say I can't see from my distance to Rob's phone. I was just counting on him reading it, and I believe what he read was, do our taxes go to pay for things like that? And so I presume, in a lot of opinions, our revenue, especially that is collected at the federal level, does go to pay for agencies and other things like that. That some of which are probably helpful, and such as the people who fix our bridges. And then maybe there's others that folks may find not so helpful. So I think that's definitely worth, as individuals in this country who get to kind of survey where a lot of the money goes as to, what are legitimate programs and what are not. And maybe that was where I think Rob was trying to keep it on our tax topic today. But did you have something on the tax topic?
Yeah, for sure. I just, last thing on that, I think that's a little bit of a dishonest, excuse or weasel, because that's like saying that if their lunch is covered by, work, then our tax dollars aren't going to pay for, feeding agents. It's because that's not what their, actual job duties are, is to eat. So I find that to be a little bit of a disingenuous rebuttal. But yes, on taxes. I can't remember her name, but she said something about Alabama. Yes, Brooklyn. They keep saying it. Oh, I think that's Brooklyn. That's in New York. Not she. So sorry.
Yeah, she mentioned Alabama and West Virginia. Is that the comment you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, so those states receive more in federal money from federal taxes than they contribute. And that money has to come from states that contribute more than they take.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this. Every state in America has resources. They have labor. They have they all have them. They're very, and that's the beautiful thing about this country. Each one has its own marketable resources, whether that be human labor, human mental capital, whether it be farming, whether it be natural resources of whatever type. Every state has its own. And it is incumbent upon those states to build economically sound systems to support themselves for the financing that they need. It's not incumbent upon a federal government to provide funding for the shortcomings of those states. And it's definitely not incumbent upon the citizens of varying states to pay income taxes to support failed economies in other states. That's not okay.
Do you know which states are going to suffer if that were the case?
I know that there will be multiple states with opportunities for growth.
More help than they contribute.
I know there will be multiple opportunities for states to grow, create their own purpose, and find ways of generating the revenue that they need rather than becoming dependent on the others. And that's the challenge that I say. There was never a time in America's origination and the founding fathers building this country that they said, oh, we're going to build this system where certain places are going to be dependent on other places. No, they said, we're going to head west. We're going to grow this thing. We're going to make this thing work. And like that is just a untenable pattern of behavior.
So one of the buzzwords that we grew up with and is still around today to some degree, and that's the word redistribution. What are your thoughts on redistribution?
We need redistribution.
Okay.
And how does that work? Where does it come from?
I'm not an economist or any sort of.
Well, then how do you justify saying that we need redistribution? Are you saying that you don't?
Can grasp I'm solid on my understanding of how many people have how much percent of the wealth, and like if we have starving kids still, then we don't need that few people don't need that much money.
I'm a little confused on your position, because you say you're confident in your position, that you know what you're talking about, and then you say you don't understand the economy. So
I didn't say that. I said I personally don't have a perfect solution to articulate to you right now.
Oh, okay. So can you cite for me one?
The problem while acknowledging that I don't necessarily have a perfect solution.
So what if the true problem is a lack of personal accountability and ownership in this country? What if that's the real problem?
And do you know who's going to suffer?
Everyone.
California.
Everyone is required to slightly suffer to create. That's what we do as humans. As you grow, you experience pain. As you create, or as you invest, or as you grow, or take an entrepreneurial pursuit, it requires sacrifice. So in order to grow, you're going to suffer a little bit. And you're going to come out on the other side much better. But can you cite one instance in history where a system of redistribution or communism has been successful? One. Just name one.
I mean, I think redistribution specifically, no.
Yeah, because it won't. It can't.
I don't. I mean,
so if we don't redistribute money,
that's right.
Then is there a form of, I guess you can say, redistribution that works? And yes, because historically in this country, and that's the beauty of all of those states with all of those resources, who have entities that are investing in their own best resources for people to come and exercise in, then a lot of people move to that state. That's why Texas is growing currently, because we are investing as a populace. People are growing, opening businesses, starting businesses, and expanding businesses. And there's people coming from all over the state to work here. So I guess there's a redistribution of talent, but should that be actually money? And should it be money for reasons where some of those states aren't in maybe a better state of governance? And why are they not? And these are just curiosities. You don't have to have an answer. I'm curious. So why is that? Why do some states not seem to be doing it well? It's not because they don't have resources.
Which states do you think aren't doing it well? I'm just curious.
Doing what well?
I don't know, apparently running their states well, because and then
California.
Somebody mentioned Alabama and West Virginia, which I don't know a lot about them personally, but evidently they mentioned them because they're not doing it well enough that others have to compensate. Is that what I heard? Did I hear that?
Well, yeah. Are you aware of which states are like the donor states, the states that contribute more in federal? They contribute more to the federal government than they receive each year. Do you know which states those are?
I don't know, but evidently it's coming from somewhere.
Could you guess?
Why do you think that the state is sending money to the Fed? Are you a little? I think you might have some confusion there.
I'm not saying it's from the state. I'm saying the residents of federal
yes,
taxes,
people.
which you want to abolish. Right?
So we're back to the IRS.
Yeah, that's going to be
issue.
That's going to be California, Texas. I mean, the entire, like,
not Texas.
The people of Texas are helping the federal government quite a bit.
But Texas still receives more than than all of their population contributes.
Okay, well, I guess you'll have to educate me there, Doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, the donor states are California, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Illinois, Connecticut, and Washington. Are any of those red?
Well, that depends. You're looking at places that vote blue because of populace in cities, big cities. The state themselves, yeah, they're red. But in the middle of the big city, no, it's blue. Hardcore.
I don't know any of those states being red. I mean, California has the most red, I guess, but I mean, I think the rest are pretty blue.
Darla, I'm with you. And I agree. Hold on, I'm going to say this.
Exactly what Brooklyn was saying is that if you want to abolish like federal taxes and
now hold on. What I said was abolish income tax. What I said was abolish income tax. What I said was abolish the Internal Revenue Service. I didn't say take away all federal taxes.
No.
Don't put words in my mouth.
That's right.
I said very specifically that we need to abolish the Internal Revenue Service because it's the most bloated form of fraud, waste, and corruption that we've ever had in the history of the world. And I said we should not be punishing the people of the United States of America for growth, for income. There should not be a tax on income. Now, I didn't say do away with all federal taxes. You said that.
I mean, without federal income taxes, what federal taxes are you okay with?
Sales, tariffs, excise tax. You want to keep going?
So, like, are you acknowledging that we pay tariffs?
Yeah, and that's the part that I love. Okay, so here's the cool thing that's why I brought tariffs up. So there's a lot of discussion, and since you brought it up, I'll address it to you and the rest of the audience. A lot of discussion about, oh, well, tariffs just trickles down to the American economy. And that's exactly right. It's an opportunity for Americans to produce things on our own soil with our own labor and our own time and our own resources instead of buying them abroad. You want to see American made?
Coffee.
Yeah, we can grow coffee. We got plenty of places to grow coffee. Yeah. You ever been to Hawaii?
Bananas.
What about bananas? I've grown bananas in my backyard.
Enough to support like the U.S. grocery market.
Are you saying to me that bananas are a staple of the U.S. grocery market that are required for us to survive?
I mean, they're not required.
No, they're not. And if you're it may put bananas at a premium. I don't know. There may be some things that move to a premium category, but those are not requirements for survival. I am America first, above all else.
So what do you think about us running Venezuela then?
What about it? I think if we're going to spend...
First, you hate the fact that we're running Venezuela right now, right?
I didn't say that.
I
didn't say I hate that. I didn't say that at all. I said what I believe.
You didn't say that. That's why I'm pointing out the hypocrisy and the lack of foundation in your view.
You brought up something unrelated to the topic. Congratulations. You didn't point out anything. I don't understand.
You just said you're first.
I am.
Pro running Venezuela.
No, I didn't say that. Doc, you're kind of all over the place, and it looks like you're grasping. I didn't say anything about Venezuela. I didn't say anything about foreign policy. I mean, you could.
Asked you, and you said yes.
No,
You're okay with that.
I didn't say anything about it.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me ask the question again. Then, how do you feel about the fact that we're currently running Venezuela? Apparently, if you're America first.
What's that got to do with anything? We are there for our interests. Whether it be oil, drugs, you name it, we're there for America. We're not there for them. We are advantaged by doing what we're doing. Prove me wrong.
Then,
Huh?
We're not there for them.
Of course we're there for them too.
But ultimately,
it started because of us.
that's right.
Help me see it a different way.
Whatever their current operation was seemed to be eroding our opportunity to do it, whatever it is, well. And so the unwell activity needed to be interrupted.
Vague generalities.
Of course.
An example of the principle.
Drugs coming out of their country into our country. Should we keep? I mean, there's plenty of other things that were being facilitated via that country and other countries. They're not the only ones. They just happen to be the first that we are now knowing of. There may even be others that we don't even know of, but we do know they're coming from somewhere. And so we have to start responding to the problem. And
you know who's bringing them here in the large majority?
Bringing who, where?
Bringing what, where?
Bringing drugs.
Go ahead and inform us, Doc.
American citizens.
Okay, and why are they doing that?
Because it makes them money.
Ah.
It's a lucrative business.
And where are they getting them from?
Other countries.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, running Venezuela doesn't help us doesn't keep drugs out from Venezuela, out of America, if it's American citizens.
You really think that drugs is the only thing that had to do with the Venezuela situation? I mean, I
think it was a distraction from Epstein. I think it was.
It's definitely not a distraction.
Distraction from the military war on the American citizens. I think it was it was a performance in a number of ways.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like we've said before, you're very entitled to feel the way you feel and say what you want to say. Did you want to talk about anything else to do with what we're talking about today about abolishing the IRS and abolishing federal income tax? Is there anything else that you'd have to contribute to that?
No, if you guys aren't even on the understanding that there are donor states, then no.
Who said we weren't understanding that?
Yeah.
Well, you did.
No.
I asked you if you knew who the donor states were, and you didn't. I had to tell you.
And when you say donor states, I don't know.
States, but they're not. Yeah. It's not the states themselves. No. You're talking about citizens.
Yeah. The citizens of those states,
but the states
abolish the IRS and do everything state by state.
Now I don't know.
The citizens of each state will only help or contribute to their own state.
I don't know that there is a state government. Maybe there is, but I don't know of one that is actually petitioned by a poorer state that says, "Hey, will y'all send us money?" No, that money is collected through profit. Through the profit of hardworking people, not unlike yourself, and that's taken out of our income tax, and then the government decides to redistribute it to these other states. And so,
because red states can't make enough money to support themselves, like Alabama and West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
So states like California and New York and Illinois and Massachusetts, they pay into the federal government, and the federal government redistributes that to the poor red states.
So you're saying the people of those states, each individual citizen, through their federal income tax, are subsidizing the people of these other states, or are you saying that they're subsidizing the actual state governments of those states?
Well, I mean, the channels the money flows through is the government. It gets paid into the federal government. The federal government redistributes it to the states. The states use the money through a number of programs that differ from state to state. And this is like high school, public school level Econ 101. How old are y'all?
So you literally just made our point that we have these bloated government entities that are in the that are
like Alabama and West Virginia don't suffer so bad.
That they are in the that they are in the collection and redistribution business.
Yes, so states like Alabama and West Virginia don't suffer so bad.
Why are they suffering?
I mean, look at Appalachia, dude. What do you mean, why are they suffering?
Okay, so what you're saying is that it is the responsibility of successful citizens to care for poor decision making of the rest of the country.
To a degree, yes, we all benefit from like society being better off and having their needs met.
Yeah, I'm never going to agree with you on that. I'm never going to.
Squalor?
No, I want to live in freedom. I want to live in the ability to make my own choices with my own money, and I don't think you have the right to decide what to do with it through taxes. That's the problem. The IRS is a funnel for corruption. It doesn't build anything.
And do those people have a right to improve their status? Absolutely, they do.
And that's what I advocate for. The people that you mentioned in Appalachia, they're not unproductive and unable people. They can create and build wealth for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I believe it's their choice to do so. It's not my responsibility if they choose not to, nor is it yours.
And they can choose to live in a lesser way if they want to. That's their choice.
Indiana James, my mom should have swallowed. I totally agree, dude. I wouldn't have bills. I wouldn't have idiots to deal with and trying to educate on a high school level. Like, I totally agree. My mom should have swallowed. Would have been way easier for me. I never would have known the difference if I was never here to begin with. So that's not an insult.
Okay.
This is really shocking to me, though. Yeah, we all benefit from people having their needs met. And
no, we benefit when people learn how to meet their own needs. We don't benefit by meeting everyone else's needs.
Communities, it just the cycle continues.
So, what do you think?
Someone doesn't come in and help them out of it.
What do you think are the developmental consequences for those who just get all of their needs met and they never learn to meet their own? What happens to those people?
What do you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to be insulting back to you. Let me take this down to the high school level. If I do something for someone, what is the future consequence of that person who doesn't have to do hardly anything for themselves?
I never said somebody shouldn't have to do anything for themselves, so I don't know where
you seem to be advocating that.
Trying to make a weird straw man.
You seem to be advocating that we should be meeting these other people's needs and not teaching them to meet their own needs, like evidently we have and you have.
Not at all. Would you like to ask me how I think this could work?
I'm asking you the consequences. If you
and you arguing against a weird straw man.
If you can insult all you want, but if you keep
not an insult, that's exactly what you're doing. You're reducing my point to the weakest version of it and arguing against that.
Yes. And why do you think I'm doing that? Because I have yet to hear you. I have yet to hear you articulate. I have yet to hear you articulate what happens to these people who just chronically get their needs met and don't learn to meet their own.
Somebody should just chronically have their needs met.
Yes, you did. You said these rich states. You said that the rich states should be paying for the poor states. That's exactly what you said.
Kind of got you there, Doc.
There are programs to help people that require money. So yes, I believe that the donor states should continue to help the poorest states. That doesn't mean I think they should help in the form of just writing checks for whoever needs them.
Do you have any kids, Doc?
Discussion that's honest.
Do you have any kids?
What this looks like, I would love that.
Do you have any kids?
But if you want to pretend that my point is we should hand out blank checks with this money, then we'll just go because that wasn't my point.
What do you think they're doing with a lot of that money? What do you think they're doing with a lot of that money?
Funding programs like SNAP, public education, before and after school care for underserved communities, all sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think the potential is for a lot of that money to get misused and misappropriated?
Oh, yeah. And anywhere there is people doing anything, there's potential for misuse.
Yeah.
So
so that's why we have laws in place to like go after and, you know, combat that, not make everybody suffer just to prohibit the possibility. Right? Like that's how like kindergarten teachers deal with their classes. They punish the whole class for something one person does, because with kids, it encourages kids to, you know, hold their own peers accountable, and that works for them because of where they're at. Adults, that's not really how it works with adults. You know, that's not really productive with adults.
And just for the record, we neither of us have any problems contributing to what we would consider to be healthy charities. I give a lot of money to charities. I give it through organizations and sometimes through congregations, because I do believe in helping people. I just don't know that the government should be its administrator.
Okay, let me see how to do this.
What state do you guys live in?
Texas.
Well, I live in Texas. He lives next door. He lives in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So we've got another guest with us, Mitch. Is that right?
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Well, thank you.
How are you today?
Good afternoon. I appreciate the conversation. Everybody's got a valid point here, but I would like to bring something up and just get what your opinion is of this.
All right.
I'm 70.
Congratulations. That's good. That's awesome.
Thank you. You know, we've been through a ton of elections. We've had presidents, all kinds of people come in, and if you notice that the system is now not really controlled by the population.
It would seem so.
Controlled by corporations. And back in the day, in the 70s, or even in the 80s and 90s, people came in and they kicked the shit out of welfare. I was happy about that, because there was a lot of waste. But you know who was really getting all the money?
Who's that?
The corporations are getting all the money. The amount of money we have spent on corporations, we could have had national health care. We could have the best grid in the world. We could have high-speed transit. But what we're fighting about is that we're down on the ground picking mushrooms. And we're not even looking at the real bloodsuckers, the billionaire class, which I don't have a problem with capitalists. But there comes a point when the government doesn't need to be giving your money and my money and my kids' money and my grandparents' money to large corporations, so they control what laws are written. We don't, the Senate and Congress no longer belong to you and me. And I'm all about it. I get it. I understand. But guys, if we really want our country back, we don't need a billionaire in the fucking book. Forgive me. We don't need a billionaire or we need a blue collar, somebody who has an idea of hard work. You know, I'm frustrated because I am a capitalist. I live in a country that is not only capitalist, but it's also socialist. It also has, it's got a lot of isms in America. Now, if I'm doing well, I can't even count on my church to give money to the people who need it. That's why we have government. I wish the churches, you know, I've got so much on my mind, guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I would really like us to focus on where the real draw is. You know, that we send more money to Israel, and I get it. We want to help them, whatever, for the religious end of it. You know, great, fine. But you know that our American taxpayer pay for their national health care. We pay for everything for Israel. We don't even do that for our own people. I don't understand why, you know, we've divided ourselves
I'm just saying, red side, blue side, be fighting it out. I'm pro gun, and all that kind of stuff. I believe in all those amendments. But you know what? We need to clean our own house, man. We've got real issues, and we're blaming the people at the bottom while all the people at the top are laughing at us. They're all up there stuffing their pockets. I don't begrudge them to have money. I don't. I don't begrudge them for that. But when the CEO is making 1,000 times more than the guy downstairs working in the building, there's something wrong.
And you're saying,
Like they agree. Meanwhile, they love that. That's what they love. That's what they
no,
love.
that's not.
Don't say that.
That's not what I'm saying.
Judgment. The guy's never said anything. Shut your hole. Learn something. Be respectful to your elders. I agree with part of what you're saying, young man. I'm just saying to you, how we deliver to each other really matters. Because if we can't find a way to just get our points across, all it is a clash of noise.
Mhm.
You had some really good points, very valid. But if you're going to get into a challenge where the ego gets involved, we're not getting anything done.
Thank you. That's good, Mitch. That's good
That's why
stuff.
I have the problem with what's going on in Washington now. It's just so upsetting. Because, look, my father, Second World War, 82nd, 101st paratrooper, fought in all 4 campaigns, came
Wow.
GI Bill, went to work in the sciences, worked for the federal government, geological survey, right? Raised a family, did fine. My father went into private, came over private. I want you to know something. My father would never hang the American flag on his house. And I used to ask Dad, why you do that? He said, because we live in a corrupt nation.
Hmm.
I said, Dad, but what about how we're viewed on the street by our neighbors? I don't care. I'm Purple Heart, Bronze Star, Silver Star. I'm private. And that's just how he felt about it. My father never voted Republican or Democrat. He voted for the best person who met his needs. He never joined the party. Those people who he wanted to vote for.
Mhm.
And we've lost that.
Mhm.
We're now in camps with each other. We're all waving the pitchforks, and the other team's got the shovels. And, it reminds me of I'll give you a quick joke here, then I'm going to get off and let somebody else do. So the king and the queen are on the top of the tower looking down at all the people. And the people were angry and screaming. They had their shovels and their pitchforks. And they were tired of being taxed. And they were waving and screaming at the king and the queen. And they were scared. And the bishop walked over and said, hey, tell the shovel people that we're going to take their pitchforks away from the other people. Divide them. And that's what they did. The bishop, and I don't mean to be tough on clergy, but you know what? In my years, I remember back in the day, I've never been in a Southern Baptist church that had black folk in it. I've always seen in a Christian church, there's 2 churches. There's a black church and a white church. So I pay attention. And I want us all to get along. If you believe in God, God bless you. I happen to have faith. I have my own beliefs. You know what I mean? And I don't have a problem with somebody who wants to believe different than me. And not at all. I wasn't raised that way. But what I don't understand is that if we can't really look at ourselves in the mirror for truly it's like a great country, but we made a lot of mistakes at the beginning. And we have a lot of wounds in this land that need to be sort of healed, man. Get the peroxide out, get a little iodine and clean that. We shouldn't be fighting amongst one another.
Mhm.
But I will say this, I'm going to get off. I'm tired of paying the corporation. They don't mean much. Like, they wanted to build a new football stadium here. Oh yeah, the owner wants the taxpayer to pay the bill.
Where's here,
The
Mitch?
guy's already a multi-billionaire.
Where you at?
Why? Why do I have to pay that bill to have a football team?
Hmm.
I'm just saying.
Where are you located,
Guys,
Mitch?
God bless.
I
Hey,
guess Kansas City. Is it Kansas City, Mitch?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Okay.
matter what city it is.
hey, Mitch.
I'm just saying.
I got a question for you though, if you're willing. So back to our original topic about abolishing the IRS and abolishing federal income tax. Where do you land on that?
Take the money from the corporation and I mean,
And everything that
you have to control all the spending, all that money that goes to them, all the corporate welfare, all the money that goes to the foreign wars and all that nonsense. Because you know what we're going to go after? We're going to go after the military complex. Eisenhower. Anybody ever remember? Go look on YouTube. Eisenhower's speech. I think it was in 59 or 58. And he stood up, the general, the president, and said, if we go in this direction, we're doomed.
Yeah.
Now, I have to just feel that if we eliminate all that and we're dumping into the corporations, and we eliminate all that other stuff, well, we can then have national health care. We can have a grid, a national, a good one, high speed. You know what? Anybody here remember the Jetsons?
yeah. That was a good old show, man.
It
I mean,
was.
come on, we can have that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
We
Oh,
even,
yeah.
got Mr. Tesla himself. But I'm telling you guys, I'm all about abolishing the IRS. I have no problem with tariffs, but all that money that our system pays out to corporate welfare is wrong.
Yes.
It's dumping our money on our population. Remember the middle class guys? I grew up in the middle class. Father worked, mom was home, 3 boys. We all went to school. We all graduated. We all went to college on one check. Figure that out.
Right.
Corporations have sucked it right out of us. And you know what? I understand how it happened. It's greed, and I get it. I understand it. But you know, we've got a systemic cancer in our land right now. And it's very deep in our land. And God forbid that brother against brother fight. But that's what they want. I get the impression what's going on now, they want. They want martial law.
Right.
And they want to take over. They want voting again. We'll have a king. Okay, fine, whatever. I got 70. How many years I got left? I got enough money. Hopefully, if the dollar holds up, you know,
Yeah.
I've got 15 years, maybe 20 years left. You know,
Yeah.
all I can say is I have 3 children, all college educated. I busted my ass when the kids were when my youngest got out of high school. My wife went to work, so she was home. These days, and we made it by the grace of God. And I'm just saying that because, believe me, I was on my hand. It was a tough road, but you know what? It made me a better man, a better human being. But I also am concerned, like the young fella is. We have a population that needs somebody to talk to. They need help, a hand up. I could go on for hours. I don't want to.
Well, Mitch, I'm going to say something on that topic because we're getting a lot of comments, and you have shared some great insights. I don't have anything that you've said that I'm diametrically opposed to at all. I can see your points on a lot of things, and something that I want to contribute to some of your ideas is I believe that hand up is not necessarily a handout. I believe they need to understand the power that they possess if they can choose ambition over dependency, if they can choose to learn to create using their gifts, their talents, their abilities. They can
I'm with you. We got a lot of wounds to heal up because to get somebody to look at you and open their ears to you to what you're saying. Like I even went through it with my 3 kids. There are times where I just had to be quiet and just watch them and let them do until they bumped their head. And then they knew that they could come to their father and say, hey, Dad, I'm at a rough point here. And I would say, well, let's find it. If I don't know the answer, we'll go find the answer together.
Right.
That's not going on right now. So with all that being said, we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Well, we
years the people in the country who do a lot of work in this country that my kids would never do. Because my kids won't do that work. Now, I don't want to bring race into it, but there's a lot of jobs that, these people come in, they fill those jobs. They work hard, they pay taxes. I don't like the fact that I hear from my fearless leader who, I'm going to stop. I don't want to be disrespectful. I just wish my dad was alive. Because my dad would be screaming and kicking like a son of a gun.
Well, Mitch, I'm going to tell you.
I remember when stuff went bad at the house, he stood up. He was a man. He filled the position. Like when we had the pandemic, and I saw my leader who I counted on to come out and stabilize the country and comfort the country. It didn't happen, guys. I knew then, man, we made a mistake. He didn't have the moral anything to stand up and say, I got your back, guys. We'll make it through. Even if he was lying to us. And then he did lie about the election. Let's stop. Please don't even go in. Please stop. Last 50 years of being jerked off, excuse me. That's why he got elected. We did that. The American people did that to this country. We're fed up. That's why he got elected. We're the ones who fell asleep behind an 18-wheeler on 81 in the middle of the winter. Sleeping as that tractor trailer was rolling down the highway. That's us. That's Kimosabe. Me and you. That's why Donald Trump is there. This guy's a con man. He knows how to play it. When he got on TV and said, I could shoot somebody in Fifth Avenue and get away with it, he was telling the truth. I believed him. I believed every word he said. But you know what? I thought, maybe this guy will get in, he'll humble himself. No, he doesn't. That's not his personality. It's not the guy who would ever invite over your house and have dinner on Sunday with your family. It's not. He's not a guy that you would even play ball with.
Classy 76, are you there?
That's somebody you would.
Classy 476, I'm sorry.
Anybody here in this program.
You're not muted.
I'm scared as I wrote. None of you guys would hang out with you. She's not that type of character. I think I am.
Well,
Thank you guys. I'm going to get out.
Thank you, Mitch.
God bless.
Thank you, Mitch. Join us anytime, brother.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, Classy. Thank you for your patience.
So I'm not a great speaker. So I've become Charlie at the schools. But my opinion is, as far as the redistricting, it needs to be done because of the fact that we have so many people that move into Texas and we don't even know who to trust anymore. That's my problem there. I'm a New Yorker. I did move to Texas, but I moved a lot of places around the world because my husband was in the service.
Thank you for your husband's service, by the way. How long have you been here in Texas?
Thank you. I've been here since 2002. My son did 14 years in the Army, and now he did the rest of his years in the Navy.
Oh, wow.
So 20 years. Yeah, so he's still doing it. So that's why I'm here to Texas. I love it here. Been here since 2002. Yes. And I got into politics when I really moved here. I said, they vote for who is the right person. And the right person for me, first, I did vote for Obama. I'm like, okay, let me give him a chance. Let's give somebody else a chance, and maybe that will make the one good. But when I started paying for the government as an armed security officer, for my AirPod went out. Just a minute.
So you worked at Fort Hood as a civilian security officer, is that right?
I worked for them outside the gates.
Okay.
Okay. So, let me get back to your question here. Districting, like I said, it has to happen. There's too many people moving here. Like I said, I love it here. I never go back to New York. I never liked it there. I was a problem child because of my past. I've never felt more comfortable. Now, as far as the taxes, I do own a home here. I'm 67 years old. And I don't see us abolishing the taxes helping us for some reason. I can't. I trust in Trump.
You trust what? Classy?
I'm with it. But you gotta get one person out.
We lost you for a second there, Classy. You said you trust in someone.
I trust in my president.
Oh, okay.
So if we decide that that's what we need to do, I'm with it.
Okay.
I do have a little bit of, okay, is this going to be good? Because I'm raising my grandson. Okay, he's only 14. So it benefits me anyway. Okay. Because I do get a little bit back to help, with the money that we spend out for that child. But then again, I'm like, how do I fix it?
Well, abolishing federal income taxes will not take away the subsidies that you're getting. In fact, if we were to free up the economic power of the American people, we would actually produce more money to fund our government than what we're currently getting filtered through the system actually to them now. And I'm going to contend that so much of this overbloated system is used to fraudulently misappropriate so much money. I mean, we're looking at it right now. I mean, just minimally looking at what we're seeing, we're just scratching the surface with Minnesota. And if you extrapolate that out into, even 10 more states, and if you were very conservative and you said, let's say that we only did $9 billion, 10 more states. That's 90.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I understand what you're saying now. I want to trust that. And I do trust my president. What happened, though, with the Medicare? Like, they gave us a raise in Medicaid.
in Social Security. And then they did the same thing and went to Medicare. Like, what would you give us a raise for if we've got to get we're paying for Medicare, we're paying for TRICARE. How much insurance do we need? Why, if my husband's retired, why can't we just use a military base and not have to use any doctor and have that extra? We could abolish our Medicare to pay for people.
And one of the most frustrating things that I've seen, I mean, I have parents that are, reaching up there in age, and I have a grandfather who will be 100 years old this year in April. He fought in World War II. And one of the things that I've seen over these years, the years that I've been alive, is the increase in misappropriation of funds. Like, for instance, borrowing from Social Security to fund other programs. This is just examples of what happens in an over-bloated bureaucracy with no checks and balances, with no accountability, and absolutely no transparency. And that's why we need to abolish the IRS. We need to shrink government. We need to shrink government and give the power, control, and choice back to the people.
To people, yeah. I agree. You got me 100%.
Well, I really appreciate you, Classy. I like your handle, and I actually love something that I noticed with you and Mitch coming on to contribute to the show is the population that's on TikTok. Like, these are not the people that you expect to see on TikTok, and like, that's awesome. I love that you guys are getting involved on different social medias, not just on Facebook, not just on YouTube, but that's amazing. Thank you for doing that. It's exciting to see you are living proof that no matter what we do or how many years we get on the calendar, we can keep learning. So
yes,
that's awesome.
And it's a proven fact. Like I said, I raised my 14-year-old grandson. He has ADHD. It's been tough. It's hard when you're 67 and only raised 3. Okay. But I gotta tell you, it's a joy to see him every day. And I just want to keep him protected.
Yes.
And there's some things that gotta change here in our state. We gotta watch out for little cities here. Where you already told you where it's getting bad over here. Getting bad. So I don't know, I'm trying to talk to the sheriff. I went to the parade, my kid was in the parade. So, I mean, we gotta do something in this small town. I hear gunshots every night. Hey, I'm fine. Me, I'm a Texan. What's with the government? I'm protected, so my kids ain't gonna get hurt.
Good for you.
And we just need to do that. But yes, I agree with everything and what people think.
Well, Classy, thank you for coming on the show today. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for your points of view and your heart. You got a big old heart. You and Mitch both. I love y'all's contribution, and you too, Doc. I don't fault you for your passion. I don't fault you for your views and your stance on things. I think that anybody who's got enough passion in them to come on a live platform like this and lay it all out there, I think they're beautiful, and they're participating in what this country needs. Because if we don't, yes. So
much love. What I miss is just sitting outside. I'm in New York, I told you. I miss sitting outside and watching the kids play. And, maybe if they did stuff we used to do, double touch, maybe some little stickball, like curveball. That's the life.
Well, Classy, I'll tell you what, if you want, I'll send you some videos of, I've got a couple of crazies still living at home. I've got 2 young ones, a 7 and a 10-year-old, and they are outside driving us nuts all the time, which is what we love. And if you want to watch them, I'll send you videos. We live out in the country, here in Texas, and my 7-year-old will do things that would probably make a city person cringe. But
my grandson loves to go ride horses. That's his thing. I told him he can work there. But it's beautiful. I mean, just if I could just see that with the kids getting out, just everything's changed. You know, I went to the parade, my grandson's in junior or Tuesday. It's also in the marching band.
Well,
And I love to go watch it. I do. These are what kids should be doing. And then he came home and he goes, Mom, I got to do good in my work. And I'm like, why? Well, we get to go on post for a week. We're going to live there. And he's so excited to just do that. He said, I'm going to have my own bed. You know, this is so cool. This is what we need. This is what we need to do. The whole world.
yes, ma'am.
People make something for these kids. Do something for them. Please. Don't let them slip out of your hands. They're dying. It's killing them. Please, people, wake up. Wake up.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions, Classy. Thank you. Have a great day, okay?
You too.
All right. You too. Bye. Doc, you still there?
Yeah, it's kind of weird how when anybody else talks about something that's not the topic, you don't say anything.
When they're not being argumentative about things unrelated, I don't mind people talking, and I'll let you talk.
When I was trying to ask you where the opinion was, and I think you said was Devin's comment. I probably still have a copy. If I hit paste, it'll probably paste it again.
Go for it.
Let's see. Oh, now I'm sending likes. Yikes. I made my phone confused. It's angry at me. Let me type. I'm frozen.
Michael Allen Rollins says, my understanding, we need 34 states for a constitutional convention. 29 is on board, I believe.
Oh. That's bold. I think Mitch is probably talking about Kansas City area. They're building a new stadium. I'm not sure if you're familiar at all, but a number of years back, the taxpayers in Missouri built a new stadium for the Rams, and then the Rams up and left. So when the Chiefs proposed the same kind of deal, the Missouri taxpayers said absolutely not. Not doing that again. We're way too smart for that. And so they went to Kansas instead, and Kansas said, sure, how much do you need? So that's also really frustrating to me that the billionaire Texans, the Hunt family who own the Kansas City Chiefs, are gonna publicize the risks of building this new stadium for their team and then privatize all the profit that it generates, which is, exactly what these MAGA pro-corp, anti-tax people love.
I need you to go a little further than that, than being just generalistic. I'd like to say something else, though. Are you done, though? I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah. I mean, say whatever, especially if you have thoughts on citizens of the state paying for.
I don't agree with taxes paying for private funding projects. I don't agree with that.
Like that.
Yeah, I don't.
Especially when the owners are billionaires.
Well, I don't care who has how much money. That's really irrelevant. How billionaires they are. The relevancy is that the burden, and I know that they go on there and they lobby that it will benefit the community or whatever, and that's the point they use to get funding, to get grants and things like that to help them fund their projects, and that it'll bring so many jobs to the community and all that kind of great stuff. And that's fine. But
they already have a stadium.
And I don't even care about that. It's really, that's irrelevant also. I think that the relevancy is that it should stand on its own merit. If they've got the money to fund the project, then they do the project. If they don't, then they don't. I don't think that it should be the burden of the taxpayer to make that work.
I agree for things that are for situations where the profit is privatized, but in cases like education, I think it's totally worth taxpayers like supporting the general education of the population.
And
all benefit from an educated society.
I agree with that.
We all benefit from people who can learn things and acquire skills so that they can get jobs and contribute. That's what I was talking about with squalor earlier. I mean, we don't want that. Nobody wants that, and it doesn't help anyone.
No, I agree. We
think about Alabama schools. Alabama schools, or Oklahoma schools. If they had to fully support it with Oklahomans, they didn't have any federal help. I'd be scared. It's already scary. Imagine how much more scary that would be.
They got some pretty big casinos there. They generate lots and lots of revenue.
Yeah. Do you think that the rich casino owners will take it upon themselves to support the general public's education if they weren't required to send it to the government so that the government could fund it that way?
But see, the difference being that I'm not arguing to abolish.
I agree that would be nice.
I'm not arguing to abolish
Realistic.
company taxes. I'm not saying that to do away with all federal taxes. You have to understand. I'm saying do away with the current Internal Revenue Service because it is broken beyond repair. It is too far gone, too fraudulent, too unaccountable, with no transparency, and do away with federal income tax on the citizens of the United States. That's it. Those two things. Now, I don't have any sort of argument for protecting companies from having their profits taxed. But that's not the same thing. The problem is
By
that,
the federal government.
yeah, sure. Why not?
So,
They're benefiting from the protection and enabling of the federal government.
we want the IRS for certain.
No,
things.
I don't want the IRS. I want a completely new system with complete transparency and accountability. I don't want the IRS.
How do you think transparency and accountability has gone since in the past year?
What do you mean how it's gone?
Like, do you think our government has been more transparent or accountable than in the past?
So my honest feelings about that are, I don't know. I don't really feel necessarily that it's more transparent or less. I think it's a different message. And I want you to understand.
Sorry, not to interrupt. I totally agree.
I want you to understand. I'm actually not a Republican. I see a lot of comments saying stuff about Republicans and things. I'm a constitutional conservative, and that's not the same thing. I'm closely aligned, far more closely aligned with a libertarian, and I really believe in the conservative constitutional values this country was built on. And currently, I don't see that operating a whole lot. Anyway.
Sorry, I just need to clarify. You think we should adhere to the Constitution the same way it did when it was created?
No, I said the fundamental principles. The Constitution is a living document. It's intended to grow and change with the times. I do believe that the 16th and 14th Amendment gave way to this unbelievably fraudulent system that we have, and it was manipulated and used to create this massive bureaucracy, which is the way that the government feeds off of us, the people.
Do you think that the Second Amendment is also being manipulated and used?
I think the entire Bill of Rights is constantly abused and manipulated.
Right. We could do something about the assault. I don't want to say anything that TikTok doesn't like. But you
So I'm going to tell you this. There's
the semi-autos.
no, I don't. What we
You
need.
can constitutionally outlaw those for civilians, right? Because the Constitution's a living document, and it's meant to progress with the times. And those weren't a thing when the Second Amendment was ratified.
Yeah, I don't
We
really.
need to progress with the times to protect people.
No, I don't agree with your. I don't agree with your premise that the function of a particular device causes it to make the decision for the person using it.
Okay, so we can say the same about the IRS. Cool, perfect.
No, the IRS is an entity. The IRS is an entity feeding corruption. That thing you brought up is not an
It's just
entity.
the people within it. It's not the system. Same with.
No, the system is the problem.
I can make about the IRS.
You can't though. Do it.
I can.
You can't.
It's just the people within it. It's
The-
not the system. The system relies on people doing actions. If we had different people that did different actions,
When it was created as a temporary system. It worked for about 10 years and then it was abolished. A few years later, it's recreated because they saw the amount of power and money that it enabled them to act with. So they put it back into place. 40, what?
kind of like ICE.
I don't understand the correlation.
I mean, ICE only exists because of the power it enables.
I don't agree with that. I think our
We have
nation.
the Department of Homeland Security without ICE, so we don't really need it.
Well, let me go ahead and make a statement for you so you can, if you're going to freak out, freak out. But
I'm not freaking out. I'm just
No, I'm saying after I say this.
To other examples that you're using. Apply
Why
the same
can't-
principle.
why can't you stay on one though? I mean, we can keep
I'm
jumping
just
around, but
testing
we're not
your
making any,
principle.
we're not
I'm
making any
testing whether
progress.
You actually honestly believe in the principle, or you're just using that as an excuse when it's convenient, but you don't actually apply it where you don't like it.
If ICE is used as a tool just for power, then that's corruption. But why don't you? I mean, I'm not speculating that it is or it's not. I think that both things have been used. The open borders was used as a tool for power and corruption. Can you argue against that? Because it absolutely happened. Look at what's happening in Minnesota. Open borders led to that. No other way to explain it. The Somalians that are there taking advantage of all the fraudulent money.
Amnesty, asylum. Is that what you mean by open borders?
No, bro, you are jumping around topics like.
What do you mean by open borders? How was the mechanism different when they were open?
What do
Can
you
you
mean?
explain that to me?
Yeah, they were allowed in unchecked. They were.
Now.
We were practicing catch and release from local all the way up to federal. There was no enforcement for our national security. There was no enforcement, no matter what was going on. There was no enforcement of our borders or illegal immigration. There was nothing to do with it.
No enforcement. There was asylum. How is there ongoing asylum claims for Trump to deport people awaiting their hearing?
You get asylum. You get asylum here if you come in and claim asylum legally, not if you sneak in or you're smuggled in or you cross the border illegally. That's wholly different.
Yeah, do you know the amount of people who get here because they cross the border illegally or sneak in? It's very few. Most of the people overstay visas or
Where are you?
illegally and then stay.
Where are you?
The United States?
No, what state are you in?
Midwest, not near the border.
Ah, okay. Well, I can tell you in a border state, and I've worked along the border in various businesses that I've had. Yeah, there's plenty coming across the border through the border.
Yeah, there still are.
Okay.
We don't know how many. there were, or there.
But what's that got to do with this? You brought up ICE as though it's comparable to the IRS, and it's not.
I mean, why?
What do you mean? Why? The IRS is a bureaucratic system of stealing money and feeding off of the American people. ICE is an enforcement organization to help our nation stay secure and keep people out of the country illegally.
You're just not using the word bureaucratic because you like ICE.
No, I'm indifferent about ICE as an organization. I don't understand. There's no correlation. There's no comparable correlation.
Abolishing it and letting Homeland Security, like,
If you've got a solution, see, that's the thing. If you pay attention to the way this show started, the topic was about abolishing the Internal Revenue Service. And I contended that.
was talking about taxes.
Hold on.
Let somebody else talk about something else. So.
Well, the show is meant to be about the topic that we're discussing. You like to jump around a whole lot as if it's like a whirlwind to confuse people.
I'm not jumping around. Like I said, I was using the principle that you were claiming you believe in and applying it to a different example to see if you actually believe in the principle or if it's just an excuse to defend what you like when it's convenient. Which that's what it seems like.
It doesn't.
Me to you. That's fair.
So, Doc, the point was that if you're going to bring up a problem, then it's your job to also bring up a solution. People who just point out problems, people who just point, I proposed solutions about the Internal Revenue Service and about the income tax and how to replace the actual revenue needed for the government. I did all that. In fact, I've outlined that like pretty good. But you like to say stuff about the
you haven't addressed how the poorest states are going to be able to take care of themselves.
Sure I did.
How is that?
To create revenue, to become contributors to this great land we call America, to generate something of value for trade. Why not?
Okay, so
Are you saying that they're unable? Are you saying that they are of less value? I don't understand.
No, I'm asking you to explain how a state that's already struggling is going to get that established.
They have the help of the same economy that you and I are a part of. What else do you need?
You think the economy in Alabama is the same as the economy in California?
Do you think they don't have access to everything else that we have in America? Do you need papers to move across state lines if you want to?
No, you don't. But
Oh, okay. So they could choose. They could choose to change their environment if they don't like it. It's not any citizen's job or responsibility to pay for the choices of any other citizen. Facts. So if I walk out of my office today and decide that, hey, I don't want to live this way anymore, I don't want to be responsible for my own life, and I want Doc to pay for my future decisions, is that okay?
I mean, it depends on how I would be paying for it and what the decisions are. But yes, I totally want to
You want to
contribute so that more people are better off, because we're all better off when more people have what they need.
I like your point. So I like making people more better off too. And how do we do that?
You like pull people who are stuck in cycles that out of them.
Wait, how do you get them out of a cycle?
You provide resources that they need, like
What are those resources? Okay. Education.
education.
Okay.
Supplies.
Supplies.
It totally depends on the situation.
Okay.
I mean, if people are stuck in a cycle, being underserved, like you can't just rely on them to get themselves out.
So can you make somebody else's choices for them, Doc?
No.
And
why
that's
you can help people.
how can you help them make better choices for themselves?
Educate.
Okay. Is education available in America?
Yes.
Okay.
Generally, yes.
Great. We're doing a good job then. What else?
I mean,
Is it required that me or you, as a citizen of this country, give money to people who choose not to earn their own?
Yes,
Oh, I disagree with
it
you.
is required.
I vehemently disagree with
That's
you.
what our taxes do, and it's illegal to avoid paying them. So yes, it is currently required.
It's not required of any citizen in this nation to give money to another one. That is not legal. It's not ethical. It's not moral. It's not justifiable. There's nothing about.
Not directly, but it is required to pay taxes, and your taxes will go towards helping other people. So yes, like,
That's the problem. That is an unjust and immoral, unethical system. That was the start of going downhill.
I think a system where people are born to single young parents who have other issues such as addiction, etc., because those people were born into a cycle like this where they had no parental guidance, influence, no importance on going to school was established. You know,
Hey, Doc.
when people are born into situations like these,
Doc, can I ask you a question?
yeah, sure, when I'm finished. When people are born into situations like these, somebody else has to help pull them out.
Do they? So,
I mean,
how was your home life? What was that?
Stop those cycles, and we have data out the wazoo that shows these cycles are like have a grip on so many parts of our country. And Appalachia is one of the most extreme.
So, what kind of family were you born into, Doc?
Not one of those. I'm
Okay.
just a person who like sees that nobody asks to be here, nobody asks to be born, nobody asks for parents that have more upbringing that they get, and we should care about communities enough to help people in situations that are worse than our own.
So, you kind of put yourself like as if you are the parent of everyone and that you know what's best and that you care so much that you're going to be the.
Yeah, I think people having their needs met is best.
So I want to help you out with something. I'm a parent of 8 kids. Okay. None of my kids, huh?
8, I don't want one kid, so 8
Okay.
is freaking wild.
So then, are you ready? Now I'll let you talk, and I ask you if I could, ask you some stuff, and I want to go over something with you because you make some pretty heavy presuppositions about things. What sort of
those are first?
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
What
I
sort
just
of
don't want you to skip generalize that and then articulate what they actually are.
are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. What sort of family do you think I was born into?
Oh, see, I knew you were going to do this.
Why? Why did you know
What
that?
are my presuppositions?
Keep going. Just answer the question. What sort of family do you assume I was born into?
I didn't assume.
Hmm.
I don't assume.
Okay. Well, let me educate you and anyone else who wants to know that's listening. I was born into a family of drug addiction. I was without a father. My wife is the same way. Both of us. Do you owe me anything?
Me personally, no.
I'm going to address something really fast. We got a comment. LaDonna says, tied up because I got 8 kids. They're not mine. We adopt kids. Just so that everyone knows, my wife and I, and I've expressed a little bit of this before. Sorry for the sidebar, Doc. But my wife and I met because we each had a daughter with cancer. We met at Texas Children's Hospital. We lost a child to cancer. And as a result of that experience, we began adopting kids. So that's how we wound up with 8 beautiful, wonderful kids. So, yeah, there's that. So anyway, my kids come from all different backgrounds. from backgrounds of abuse, from backgrounds of drug addiction, from backgrounds of abandonment, from backgrounds of other countries, from backgrounds of broken families. So which one of my kids do you want to pay for, Doc? And did the government owe me because I decided to adopt? Or did you owe me? Do you owe my kids? They all come from those backgrounds, those troubled backgrounds. Do you owe them?
Me personally?
Well, yeah, you're the one that said it.
No, personally.
Why not? You believe in that. You believe that entitlement is a right.
I think we as Americans owe other Americans their basic needs.
Let me tell you something straight up, Doc. If you'll shut up for just a second, let me say this. Nobody owes me or my kids anything. And what I owe my kids is to inspire them to have ambition, to create and generate and create wealth for themselves and to benefit their communities and the world around them. And if you don't choose to create and generate wealth for yourself and to become a benefit for your community, no one else owes you anything. And that's just the facts. Nobody owes you anything, Doc.
So how do we help people who are going into these cycles do that?
You teach them.
You don't have a parent telling them,
You teach
you need
them.
to do something for yourself. You need to generate wealth. You need to contribute to society. How do we get those people out of those situations? Because unless you're going to go around and adopt everyone in a situation like that, how do we help the kids who don't have you swooping in to save them?
We give them the truth that nobody's coming to rescue them and they've got to do it for themselves.
How do they access that at all? I'm talking about kids in homeless camps. How are you reaching those kids? You're saying you're telling them the truth. How are you reaching them?
Pay attention to this channel and you'll see. I do everything I can personally do.
These kids are watching your TikTok?
No, I go into juvenile detention centers. I go into foster care centers and adoptive facilities. I go out in the street and talk to kids.
Single mom.
What about them? You can't
How are we helping them?
You're not helping them by giving them a handout. That doesn't help them. It doesn't.
It depends on what the handout looks like, for sure. Like, yeah, again, I've said a number of times that it shouldn't look like a blank check. Of course, that doesn't help everyone. But a handout, that doesn't have to be a handout.
Oh, okay. Well, then I can go with you on that. A hand up should not be a handout. I agree. And in my world and what I'm doing to do for my community is to work towards teaching and educating and inspiring and influencing young people, young parents, kids, all of them to become creators for themselves, to find and pursue their purpose.
And I think that's great. I just really wonder how you think we can reach the people who aren't on these platforms. They aren't going to school because their parents don't care. They aren't, they aren't watching TV because of the situation that they're living in. They don't have those things. How are we reaching those people?
Well, in my community, we bring them to multiple different events. We've got all sort of educational resources and mentoring resources for young parents and families to do exactly that. Now, that's here.
About searching for them?
I do, yes. I do it all the time.
Nice. So you just open your car door and let them jump in?
No, I talk to anybody everywhere I go. And I get on my wife's nerves because I'm always on.
Yeah, my parents do that too, and I quit going in public with them because I'm terrified of what they're going to say to a stranger who never consented to a conversation. But so again, we're not addressing people who don't have access or.
Well, how do you address people who don't have access? You're not really giving a solution. You're presenting a problem. What's the solution?
We fund programs that help them.
What programs?
SNAP.
Snap gives people a leg up. I thought Snap was for food.
Yeah, it's when people don't have enough food.
And did I argue against SNAP? I don't have any problem with SNAP. I have a problem with fraud, waste, abuse, over bloated bureaucracies. That's what I have a problem with. I didn't say anything about SNAP.
Well, I mean, SNAP is one of the programs that federal tax dollars are funding. You realize that, right?
Yeah, and we don't need income tax to do it.
Okay, so how would we do it without it?
As I illustrated before, we do it with tariffs, excise tax. We do it with corporate profit taxes. All of those things.
Tariffs, like how are we gaining revenue with tariffs instead of taxes? Can you explain that step by step?
Yeah, because the generated revenue from it is on spending, not on earning.
Sorry, you started generating revenue already. I need step by step how we get to the revenue using tariffs.
Okay, you want step by step. So first of all, you got to get a job. Do you have a job?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a job and you're earning money. You get that job, you take that paycheck down to the store and you buy some stuff.
Yeah.
And you buy some stuff that wasn't made or assembled or produced in America. And those things that weren't produced in America have tariffs on them.
Yeah, so they cost me more.
Absolutely. If you don't like it, buy American.
Yeah, but then everybody does that, then we won't have the revenue that we already canceled out from canceling taxes.
No, it's
not a solution.
It's absolutely a solution, because then if it incentivizes.
Pretend that we don't need to have money to help people. Sure, it's a solution.
No.
Seems like it's what you want.
You like interrupting me. You don't like it when I do it to you, but you like doing it to me. It's a cycle that produces more wealth for America. It puts America first. It puts our country first. So if you penalize people for doing business with foreign entities and you incentivize them to do business with America, then the corporate profits for American companies go up. Therefore, the corporate.
That's the opposite of what we want. We don't want more corporate profits. Corporate profits are a huge part of the issue.
If you're an entrepreneur in America and you form your own company, you're going to be part of the solution. How do you think you're going to generate money here ever? You think just destroy all the companies and then we'll have money?
No, I don't think destroy the companies. I think that they should pay a way larger portion in taxes to the federal government so that individuals don't have to, and we can still fund things like SNAP and public education, which are things we need.
You just said the same thing I said, Doc. I said, let the companies pay taxes on their profits and
the rich should pay.
And stop taxing the individuals. Let the companies pay taxes on their profits and stop taxing the individuals. Don't tax individual income. That's the whole premise of the argument. You said the same thing.
Until a certain percent, yeah.
Well, how do you justify a percent?
Well, are you asking me what percent I should think it should be, or why it should be a certain percentage of individuals that pay?
Well, you said it as though you have moral superiority about it, and so I want to understand, how do you moralize a percent at a certain point? Like, how do you do that?
Oh, because the amount of people who have most of the wealth is very small. It's very easy to moralize. Like, the gap between the 1% and everybody else is so large. It's very easy to moralize. Like, we could cut all of their net worth in half, and they'd still be the 1%.
And what would everybody else be?
Like,
if you cut all their money in half and redistribute it,
would be like 70 to 100 instead of 90 to 100. Like, yeah, that's how I realize it, because it's so broad right now that it's so easy to.
I don't know how to talk to you, Doc, because, like, for instance, if you had a package of cookies and I didn't have any, and I said, but I want yours because I don't have any. And you said, but I bought mine because I earned the money and paid for it myself. And then I said, but I don't have any money and I want cookies. I deserve them. I'm entitled to them. Should I just take them? Do you owe them to me?
I think it would more than just those details on whether or not.
What?
Yeah.
How is it that anyone who is successful, anyone who creates financial wealth for themselves, you then demonize? Can a person become wealthy and still be a good person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Billionaires, though.
what?
No good billionaires. No
Why?
ethical billionaires.
Why do you say that? How do you know?
Because kids are starving.
What's that got to do with them being good? They didn't make the kids be starving, and they can't rescue them. Their money can't.
Yeah, they could.
How?
Like,
How? Come on, Doc.
By hoarding less money for
No,
themselves.
it wouldn't matter if they didn't hoard any at all. That still wouldn't get to those kids. Come on, man. Help me out. Help me understand. Articulate.
You're reaching these kids.
I am, but I'm not doing it with money. It has nothing to do with money. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not rich.
Exactly, but if you're able to reach these kids with what
I'm not reaching all the kids. There's still tons of them that I'm never going to reach. I'm not that deluded to think that I'm out here saving the world, and no billionaire can save the world. The only way to help people and to save people is to inspire them to become ambitious for themselves. Like, that's it. There's no other way. If you don't create for yourself, no one else owes it to you.
Yeah, you realize that like the current assistance programs have requirements like SNAP, you have to be certified.
What's that got to do with this? What's that got to do with this?
Yeah, it does. It has exactly to do with it.
What's it got to do with? Okay, so back to where the original show started, because we've been.
Those programs are inspiring people to like make something for themselves. That's why they require that. Like, because it's not a handout, it's a hand up. You search for a job, we'll help you buy your groceries while you're searching, and you keep reporting to us that you're searching and like doing an earnest job at it. Yeah, that's how those programs work. That's why they're good. We should support them.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best, Doc. We've been on here for over 2 hours. We're going to go ahead and call it there. I've got other things I need to do. And I really appreciate.
Read a book, hopefully.
Do what?
Read a book, hopefully.
How many books you read a year, Doc?
80-ish.
That's a good start. Well, I hope
How many do you?
over 200.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
No, you
If my phone wasn't on the stand, I'd show you.
You read 3 books a week?
I read 3 books at a time.
Like, how long does it take you from start till you finish a book?
It depends on the book. Like, I don't understand that question. It's a strange thing to ask. Different ones take different times.
Yeah.
Like, I read tons of books. Okay. I didn't say it for you to believe, but I hope that you have a wonderful day, a wonderful year. I hope you're blessed beyond all measure, more than you can handle. I hope you're prosperous.
200 books in a year is 3.8 books per week on average. You finish almost 4 books per week?
Oh, at least, yeah. Why not?
Wow. Are they 3 pages each?
No, man. I mean,
Do you have a job?
do you do anything except little sarcastic stabs? I mean, do you know how to have a conversation?
I'm just asking you to back up your claim and explain how you actually have a full-time job and read 4 books a week almost.
I listen to books, Doc, constantly. I actually have dyslexia, so when I read, if I just read the pages, I don't retain a whole lot, but I listen constantly to books.
So you just like put your headphones in and like, which one of the 4 books that I'm in the middle of, 3 books that I'm in the middle of at the same time do I want to listen to right now?
No, I have a pattern and I follow it daily.
Uh-oh.
I
You
listen.
still listen to almost 4 books per week.
I listen to those every day. I listen to those books at different times a day. So this discussion is not going to benefit anyone.
Books each week, right? Because you're getting through all of them.
I don't know what you just said because I wasn't listening. We have an audience and this show has a purpose. It's not
They're all commenting about how I caught you in a lie about how many books you read.
well, you didn't catch me in a lie. It's pretty easy to talk about.
You answer these questions if you were telling the truth.
Let's see if I
Do you
can.
have Goodreads? Do you track them anywhere?
Yeah, I've got Audible. I've got, let me see here.
Could you screenshot a list of all the books you read in 2025 and send DM it to me by chance?
Sure. Sure.
Or, I guess, listen to?
Yeah, I listen to them. I don't even, like, I even use the app on the phone to read. If I have a book that doesn't have an audio version, I use an app to pull the text out of the book, and it reads it. It's a terrible voice, like it's not a fun voice to listen to, but
It's wild.
it works.
The doubling down was not expected from me, but
Doubling
when
down
was the last time you started a new book?
this morning.
When was the last time you finished a book?
This morning.
Gotcha. So when will you finish the one you started this morning?
Which one? I started 3
You
today.
started multiple this morning?
Yep.
So how does this pattern work?
Brooklyn said to name them. So I started. I'm reading again, Think and Grow Rich, the Prosperity Bible, and the another one by what's his name? Hold on. I don't know if I can look at it while I'm talking to you guys, but the Prosperity Bible, Think and Grow Rich, and the Principles of Success, or the something, I don't know, but those are the 3 that I started this morning.
Everyone in the chat, you think this is believable? I'm so curious. Wow. So yeah, I know wholly everything. Big lie by the movie fool. Yeah, I agree. So when will you finish these 3 books that you started this morning?
I don't know. I don't understand why this would be germane to the conversation, but when I finish them, I'll let you know.
You're gonna get through 200 books again in 2026. You're actually done with all 3 of them by like Thursday.
And I may. What difference does it make?
Well, I just don't think that you actually do that. So that's the difference that it makes. I think you were making something up to pretend to have a stronger point than you did.
I think that you actually don't have any real points at all, and you jump around topics to protect yourself from the truth.
What truth am I protecting myself from?
That you don't have any substance. I haven't heard anything from. I haven't heard anything from you that finished. You bounced from one thing to another anytime you got caught in a tough spot.
I never got caught in one tough spot.
Brother, did I call you right? Are you pronoun particular?
I am, and yes, you got them correct.
Okay.
I think everyone should be.
Well, I haven't heard you finish a point yet. You jump around like nobody's business. When one thing comes to a place where you don't have an answer, you instantly move to another one.
Nope.
Yeah. Everything you talked about, you didn't finish a single thing. Every time we would start.
One example, not just a general claim. Tell me one topic.
I said, okay, solve. How would you solve taking all the money from the billionaires and giving it to starving kids?
Like what?
That was your argument.
The breakdown?
You see. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and end it there. Bless your heart. Doc, I hope you come back next week. We'll be here Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Look forward to seeing any of you. Thank you guys for being a part.
What 4 new books you're reading?
Thank you guys for being a part of our audience today. Y'all have a great day, and we will talk soon.
Question everything in pursuit of your purpose.